So I am figuratively on a roll right now. I was going to say a certain F word with an I that follows and flames, but I figured that may trigger robots. But there are some things to say as we get Kathak, World of Horror random item stats. But the first thing is that if I'm not going in the order you expect me to, as I realize that I'm wearing my shirt backwards, yeah, let me know, because I've only recently started tracking, because sometimes I skip characters only if a batch of characters are made relatively close to the same, by the same person in the same span of time. So for example, if I made 3 characters, also, I think we're on it though too, I'm going crazy. Anyway, amateur detective and horror writer, by the way. And I'll continue talking, I'll start again just really quickly, but as we get into, we're supposed to be in Kathak, I'm going, okay, never mind, I guess the timestamps will follow, oh goodness. But yeah, just let me know. I don't like to play the same characters by the same person back to back. I usually try to space them at least more than, you know, a handful of characters at minimum. But as we actually get, I think it was medical history. Now I'm just completely forgetting. I'm just going to say medical history as we actually get into Kathak medical history, character exclusive random item, custom character. First thing to say, I will talk about how this character, you know, I think the creator was having trouble with this character specifically, getting them to work. I know the reason why, but let me just finish what I was saying as we get second mystery, dexterity, light, strength, second encounter, and maybe a Takshi-san? I swear I'm not just interrupting myself for gameplay reason, with gameplay stuff for reasons. It's because I need to keep that in mind too. But I'm just gonna autopilot illegal den. By the way, 4 strength, 5 dexterity, 7 perception. I can't see how much knowledge, and I can't see how much charisma. So we're gonna do perception anyway. Okay, let's just say it now before I fill too much of the sandwich with filler. So essentially, the quotation marks are different. Syntax in World of Horror's Ito file coding, whatever you want to call it, the syntax, or the way that you have to type things, are very specific. So basically, the quotes are not what the game accepts. It accepts a very specific type of quotation mark, which the Ito file actually has more of. It's just that I think for the first few variables, the quotation marks are, even the quotation mark that happens. So for example, if Lucky Earrings was enclosed in quotation marks here, then there's a quotation mark on the left side and the quotation mark on the right side. Both of these are different types of quotation marks than the general one that is accepted by World of Horror's Ito code. Just again, for the next 15 seconds, let me explain. So yeah, these quotation marks, the one on the left is different compared to the one on the right, and the general one. So essentially, there are 3 types of quotation marks in this Ito file, or the character's Ito file, which is why things are not being read. And you want to just if you're making a character for anyone really, then you want to make sure that it's the same one. The third type is the one you want. It's general for both left and right side, but as it is right now, there are 2 types of quotation marks, one for the left and one for the right specifically. I don't know what they're called. I'm sure there's an ASCII code for them as we start with these Lucky Earrings, by the way. And we have a flashlight, but that's essentially what's causing this character to crash. If for no one else than anyone who wants to play this character, I pulled it directly from the Discord server, so hey. And I'm sure there may be a corrected version somewhere else, but as we see, Household Hell, Botanist, Ward, I forgot if I had 2 or 3 custom mysteries, I'm just going to say 2. Phantasms and Goal, yeah, this is going to be a thing. So Phantasms and Ward at some point, we'll take Botanist now then. But yeah, the only other thing I said before the timestamp that Jordan should put is that I'm kind of forgetting because I'm trying not to autopilot too much. Oh, yeah, if I forget to play a custom character, because essentially I'm playing them in chronological order at the date they were posted, if you're trying to follow what I'm doing here on this series, then yeah, that's essentially the way I'm going. We're going to take Iwa as well. This is going to be a lot of Doom, but I think it's for a good reason. Also, we might as well, while we're fishing for the thing, we'll actually take a curse here. That's fine, but I would have liked to not see that. And one more illegal den visit. Okay, there's the army knife. So yeah, and the reason why I'm skipping over characters sometimes is because I don't want to place, for example, if a creator makes characters 1, 2, and 3 on September 12th, then I don't want to play those characters back to back. I want to play characters from different creators, and if there are some by the same person, characters by the same person, then I will space them out, usually between 3 to 5 characters, but I'm pretty sure I've forgotten at least 2 characters at this point, so I might need to go back and check. But again, let me know. That way, if you want to make it easier for me, you can always just let me know. I swear I'm not farming for comments on my channel. But anywho. I forgot to visit the police station. Are we going to be fine here? No, because I have to visit Ward next. Or I could visit Ward next. I think I'm just going to visit Phantasms to get the thingy-majiggy. There's something else I also wanted. Oh yeah, I'm on a roll doing some things for myself that will help me out basically in real life. Did I already talk about how the fact that I have my shirt on the wrong way is really bugging me. But out of curiosity, so Blood Frenzy. Just really quickly, yeah, Blood Frenzy is an interesting curse. For the essential rule of thumb is that higher HP enemies will hurt you more, and lower HP enemies it'll be beneficial for you sometimes to have Blood Frenzy on low HP enemies. Because if I had Blood Frenzy right now, I'd have a chance of doing, well, I'm very likely to have gotten out in one turn, but because that wasn't the case. Yeah, but I didn't want to wait, because I'm pretty sure if you don't get rid of Blood Frenzy before you run into an encounter, the damage just slaps you, and so you're just sitting there being sad. And I'm just taking a brace. I could have gone for strong attack, but I didn't want to take the risk. So yeah, alternatively, I could have sold a medical kit, but 3 stamina for 2 funds, I'll take that at the very beginning of the run. You can't keep taking that, but hey. And specifically, what I mean, as I kind of just autopilot for a moment, is that I took some cues from this ties into what I talked about a while ago. I wasn't supposed to trade stamina a while ago about taking ideas from other games that are pretty good ideas, just quality of life wise. A very common example, and actually one of the examples I'm planning to use, is basically a gallery mode, or basically giving the player a place to revisit parts of a game. To be more specific, if you're playing an RPG and you want to see a certain event again, you add in a little, if we're talking RPG Maker terms, you add in a map and you put events all over the place that essentially have you repeat the events in question. Now, that does mean either you need to make a copy of those events, because you can't just send the player back to an event and have the variables work out the same. Maybe you will just want to make another event. Maybe you want to create your events differently in your RPG, so that they're essentially replicated, so the player can see the same thing, but underneath the hood where the code is working, other things are happening. But again, this is what I mean by making things easier for the player. Now, it does cost development time, but I think it's for a good cause. A more gameplay-specific example... Rolled a 10 on luck. A more gameplay-specific example is... Well, for me, I usually like to make parts of my game that have artificial intelligence. What I mean by that is, now not generative AI, that's something completely different, but essentially having the game play against you, in a sense, in the way of character-specific interactions. More specifically, what I mean by this is, for example, and I guess I'm just gonna say this because no one's gonna steal the idea. But I mean, it's not like it's stealing an idea, it's that it's kind of to be expected. For example, in a mystery game, you have variables that are tied to clues in a mystery. But the way that I like to approach my mystery games is I usually like to, you have suspects, you have characters, you have NPCs. I let those NPCs do things on their own. And how would they decide to do that, you might ask me? How might they do that, Jordan, you might ask? Well, essentially you give essentially make each character a type of their own self-determining program. The game keeps trying to sneak these luck checks against me, by the way, but one very simplified example is, say, every character in your mystery game has a suspicion variable, or a variable that defines the amount of suspicion they have towards you, the player, and as this number grows higher or lower, their actions in the middle of a game change. That's the kind of variability I'm usually looking for when I'm making my own games. Because otherwise you're making a more linear game, which isn't a bad thing. There are a lot of good linear games, especially those that are mysteries as well. At least in terms of their success monetarily. But I usually like to make the game a bit more... How should I say? I like to have the player think a bit more and have them feel good about thinking. I think that's the more important part, because you can always have things be more complex for difficulty, but I think the real breadwinner of that kind of thought process is supposed to be that you want the player to feel a sense of accomplishment and fun, of course, but I think those two are also intrinsically tied together. Man, I'm using big words when I don't even know. Anywho, you get what I mean. So they have a suspicion meter, and as you make this system more complex, that way it's not figured out easily so that the player can feel a bigger sense of accomplishment for figuring everything out, or maybe for some other reason to reward the player or give them some type of reward in game, you add in more say variable, so there are other suspicion variables for other characters. This is also a common thing that you might see. So say you have 6 characters, each of them has a variable for a value of suspicion towards another character, and then they take actions accordingly. Maybe they prioritize certain actions, say, not negative, but how should I say, attacking actions. I'm losing my words at the moment. They're more likely to suspect or take negative actions toward the character they have more suspicion for. I can't speak. And then you get where I'm going with this. And this is on a priority system. So whoever has the highest value, the character, may actively dislike. The second and third highest, they are more likely, or they might not do certain things like heal a certain character if you add in like HP values where they can die in the middle of the story, so on and so forth. Also, we run away from this. No, we can't, because we're on attack. Oh, I didn't take the handcuffs either, so we're in super pain. Well, at least we can brace. I don't know how well that's going to help me, though. Quite a lot, actually. Can I go for a strong? No, I can't. So we just take 5. I think we just take 3 all to the face here. Even though I don't mean to. We do bonus damage, and we also have a cut artery now. That's right, we're on medical history. We have a medical kit for that, but... man, does that not make me happy. And these things should be usually expected for, again, specifically mystery games, maybe RPG games, where obviously you have persistent variables that influence how a story or the game plays out, so on and so forth. Also, we need to visit this. I think I can just band-aid this, right? Otherwise, I just like to use funds. I can't tell how many funds I have, so I guess I will just take out of funds when it appears. But we'll take signed contract if for no other reason than funds. And off we go. But yeah, just getting back in tune with liking how to, or enjoying designing a video game, essentially. And I think I have a good idea of what I know how to do. Again, the examples I use are more just simplified examples that I always put in my games, but those are the same line of design, thoughts of design that I like to use. We're gonna run, by the way. 60% Doom in our 4th mystery. It's not 60%, but it's essentially 60%. And moving on. Also, we have recently had a bigger appreciation for old games that... I'm not saying that games that come out in the modern era mostly have no love put into them, but man, did a lot of work go into making certain games. More specifically, games made in Japan. Again, I'm not saying games made in Japan back then are better than now, but you can definitely see the attempts made. Now, obviously, I don't know what may have happened behind the scenes. Maybe it was a trial and tribulation to even make certain games, but the few that I've looked into and researched and gotten to the inner workings of, I do have a larger respect for the types of gameplay and the innovative things that that these games have gone for. And again, I won't name them just to not name them, but one example is the voice acting. It's just when you full voice a game, boy, and this obviously narrows down the games that if you want to get interested in what games I've looked into, sure. We've not rolled well on a lot of luck checks, by the way. I feel so sad. Also, hallucinations hurting our army knife here, but anywho. There's more I could say, but I'm trying not to die here as well. We're definitely going to brace here, by the way, if we can. I can't even find the action. Can I fit into strong? I can. 95%. Might as well. Now, we could get injured here because of medical history, but we just take it in the face. I mean, at this point, we just accept it. I can get rid of that, by the way, but hey, we get a police revolver for that, but... Also, I should have fixed that encounter that dropped a ritual. That's what literally drops, and that's a dead item. But I'll have to remember even what enemy that... I mean, I could find it. Actually, that makes no sense, what I just said. I can find it. What I mean by that is... It is incorrect for me to say that it's hard for me to find it, because I can literally just find it. And by that, I mean, if you have Sublime Text Editor, you can actually search through your text files for very specific phrasing that can even be case sensitive. We're taking the funds, by the way. Let's see here. Are we going to be okay here? I know we're on Kathak, so resting is a lot better for us, but at the same time, our Doom is a bit high, so I don't want to rest either. As funny as that sounds to say. So we will take the thingamajiggy. We also want to take these handcuffs. The prescription and the hospital pass now does nothing for me. And I just realized we have Goal, and Goal is a boss fight. Or does have a boss fight. So I guess we find out what happens to us. I'm gonna visit the history club. Maybe we get something cool. Funny enough, Gruesome Totem. That'll help me get more HP if nothing else, but it's more Doom. And yeah, we find out what happens to us in this mystery. I'm really, really scared. Well, I forgot my second encounter as well, so we definitely don't have a lot to do. Again, I mean, you can't have me roll on events unless you force me to pick the left option every time. It is kind of muscle memory just to pick the right option, the option on the right most choice, whether there are two choices or three choices. Because by design, and I feel like it's not bad design, bright choices are usually you don't roll but you take damage, or it's a free way out. I know, dog. Yeah, it's a free way out. Do I just want to take 2 stamina? No, I just want to brace, actually. I was actually looking for a pack of cigarettes, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get that. So we roll the dice and take damage. I didn't need to do this, by the way. We had 3 stamina. We could have desperate struggled, but I'm feeling a bit lazy for no reason. Head left. Now we head right because the dog says so, and we pick the lock and fail because we've just been rolling high. So hey. But while we're here, we can brace. We're also going to toss things. We're just going to take the 82%. We'll toss things while the sequence is going. Might as well make use of our time. Actually, funny enough, that saves us time. But if I can hit this next strong attack, that would be great. And off we go. Now, our stamina is quite low, so hopefully I don't lose the bath. But otherwise, sitting pretty at the moment. We also could level up and heal stamina, but I'm pretty sure we need the rest. So I forgot my second encounter, by the way. This is not going to end well for me, but I'm actually going to sit on this level up. Am I going to sit on this level up? Yeah, we're going to sit on this level up. So the reason we're doing that is because I don't remember where Takushi-san is. And if you run into never mind, Takushi-san is way at the back. So we can actually take Dexterity instead and still be fine. We also have the Gruesome Totem in case we need an emergency thing, but while we're here, so what we can do is increase Dexterity and then drink the energy drink. It's a very specific use case, but if you have the energy drink, this is something you can do. Rule of thumb, if you have 7 Dexterity entering the lighthouse, just drink the energy drink. If you want to just monkey brain it. Otherwise, the more specific phrasing, or the more specific thing to do is, if you have the Dexterity check, and your Dexterity is at 7, and it's not going to lower or anything, or you have a level up at Dexterity 6, you take the Dexterity, and then you grab a drink. If you care about the 3 stamina loss. But hey, also, I don't remember at all. We took Ward second, I believe. Because, never mind, I'm going absolutely crazy. I took Phantasm second, because I wanted to visit the police station. Anywho. So, before we do anything else, definitely before you run into Takushi-san, we need to equip this Gruesome Totem. We'll survive on Reason anyway. If you have 9 Reason entering the lighthouse and you have the Gruesome Totem, just equip the Gruesome Totem. Unless there's something very, 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 very specific you want to do. But yeah, as we close out this video, as I really don't remember what we ran into. We took Botanist first, right? I must have fought something before Shiro-san. Okay, good. Just kind of logicked it out and guessed, but with these handcuffs, we should be perfectly fine. If we're not, well, guess we'll find out. So, away we go! And yeah, that's the end of the run. So, without further ado, again, if you want me to hear me talk about something else, something I've talked about in this video, or talk more about something I've talked about in this video, I'll let you know. Otherwise, just know that things on this channel may change aside from World of Horror videos, because I will never not admit, or I will admit, World of Horror videos are relatively easy for me to record. And I guess I'll see you when I see you. Thank you for watching. If you want to support me, you know what to do. Bye!